Well, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. It's good to be here in Vegas. Shout out to the people watching at home. Another one. Here we go.
We're going to talk a little bit about Coach T. I need to know how and when and why.
Well, I take it from there, Jake.
Ooh.
I've been doing this for about 40 years.
But you're all of 25.
Well, you know, things happen. I've been through a lot. You know, I was around during Tyson time. You know, I saw something in the white boy. I made sure I made it happen. So we here.
There you go. So when did you decide to touch base with Coach T?
You know, after the Woodley fight, I came out, I reassessed my performance, and I was like, you know what, I did great. I beat a 5-time UFC champion. I took his hardest punch that he won the UFC championship with like it was nothing. I was off balance. You know, it's boxing. You're gonna get dirty if you're a mechanic. But I was like, you know, there's some things we can tighten up. And that's where, you know, started making some calls, and that's where Coach D came in. And, you know, it's been a game changer.
So Coach T is actually an advisor to BJ.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I came in for nourishment, and you know, he wasn't making weight, so I made sure he made weight. We came in. I continued to tell him. I said, "Come with that right jab, under that belt." He listened. He's a good boy. Like I said, you know, apple don't fall too far from the tree. I talked to his papa. His papa's a good guy. Yeah, we just working.
Well, I look forward to see you performing December 18th.
And look, I mean, Tommy went and got Sugar Hill. You know, Tommy went in and you know, getting Tyson to be in his corner. So, what am I gonna do? I have a response to that. You know, this is a serious business. Life is on the line.
Okay, so now I'm going to change gears now that you said life is on the line. Many times you've said boxing saved your life. How did the sport save your life?
Man, I was a young kid in Los Angeles, just getting caught up in the wrong things, surrounded by the wrong group of people, and boxing gave me the chance to take my life back and to follow a routine and to work on something and to have a purpose, and it gave me something to fight for. I wasn't meant for LA, although I thought I was. Boxing is my true home, and it took me until I was 21 years old to find that. You know, but some of the greatest fighters don't find out they're fighters until they're a little bit older. Deontay Wilder, the list goes on.
Before we go any further, I need to just acknowledge the presence of Problem Bot right there. Thank you, Problem Bot. Yeah. Is that your security?
Yeah, he's got an RPG.
You know, a lot of people talk about what you do outside the ring. Obviously, you've been an influencer all your life, even before influencers were, you know, famous and the thing to do and trending. But there's a lot more to you. I just gave a little bit of snippets of what you do for the community. First of all, talk to us about that commitment against bullying and children, just in general.
Yeah, look, I want to use my platform for good. Ever since I was young, you know, my dad, who's here today, shout out Greg Paul, we would always go and give back, volunteering, handing out food on Thanksgiving, whatever it was, we always wanted to get involved in the community. And I had a dream as a kid to have a foundation, have a charity, and now I'm, you know, finally at a place where I felt like I was able to give back and to use my platform to give back. And that's why I'm passionate about Boxing Bullies, my foundation, and fighting back against bullying, because I once was a bully and I realized it wasn't cool. And then I got cyberbullied by my peers and friends when I started to post videos online. And I was like, wow, these comments hurt. And I realized this is a big problem in our generation. And cyberbullying affects so many people. And I think boxing gives people confidence, you know, to not have to feel like they need to pull other people's down or to just be themselves. And that's what it did for me. And so I want to be able to share boxing and this message just with the whole entire world. And I think everyone should take up the sport, even just for fitness, confidence, and being able to protect yourself.
Mental health, key. Thank you for that. But talking about the sport itself. I get a chance to speak to fighters all the time, and the one thing they always say is boxing is a very jealous wife. It doesn't like to share their talent. It doesn't like to share their men. You spread yourself out so thin that I wonder, how deep is your commitment to the sport itself?
I'll take this one.
Thank you, Coach.
I'll probably say, you know, this kid right here, we've been coaching him. He been a smart kid. He a good boy. Like I said, he can fight. At the end of the day, if it ain't about fighting, it ain't about a motherfucking thing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I brought him in. He gonna fight. Well, we tried to get your brother, didn't we?
Yep.
We tried to get his brother.
Yep.
His brother was running.
Yep.
I talked to Tyson. Tyson was running. I talked to Sugar Ray Leonard. He was running. So now, you know, we trying to find people where we can fight and have a good, decent fight where we got in front of us. You know what I'm saying? So.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work,
The
but that's why I have the
YouTube
best team. That's why I have the best team, you know? I'm surrounded. It's not just me. Jake Paul is not a one-man operation. I've brought in the best. I have the best filmers, the best security, the best managers, advisors, business partners, investors, editors, you name it, mascots. So it's not just me, and we can get the job done. Clearly, the formula is working. So
Yes,
that's why we're here.
Yes,
we'll
it
run
is.
y'all through a drill as well. Whenever if we could do it now, that'd be fine. We can run through the drill. That way you do.
You're gonna run through the drill right now?
Go ahead.
Cameras on, please. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. Excellent drill. You know, the interesting thing is we have Tommy Fury and yourself that came to the spot today for that fight on December 18th. And it's almost like the yin and the yang. He comes from a boxing background and became an influencer, you know, reality show star in the UK, and you came the other way around, even though you have an athletic background when you played football, and then you became a huge star, and then you decided to take on boxing later in your life. How do you think that balances out? That's like a yin and yang.
Yeah, look, I mean, Tommy claims to have been doing this his whole life, and he has an amateur career, and he's been around it. That is true, but he hasn't worked as hard as me, you know? I see a green guy who hasn't sparred enough times and has only been put in there with opponents that were meant to lose. This is his first real test where his opponent isn't some guy that's just gonna flop over. And, you know, you're gonna see that. You're gonna see a fighter who is a virgin, in my opinion. He has no idea what he's getting himself into. This is his first time under the big lights on the big stage, and he's gonna crack under pressure.
The one thing that I see is your eye to pick people around you. You know, picking your opponents, picking your coaches. You also pick somebody that I love, and I am a diehard fan. She is the epitome of badass bitch, Amanda Serrano. She is perhaps the only, thank you, Problem Bot. Her record alone speaks for the quality of fighter that she is. But as a human being, she's also a very giving woman. What made you look at her and sign her?
Look, I mean, just the simple fact that she's the GOAT, greatest woman of all time. There's no debating that, you know. And I like to work with people that are cool. And Amanda and I, you know, clicked from day one. And she, you know, needs to be put onto a bigger platform, and that's where Most Valuable Promotions and Nikisa and myself come in, because she's a star, like you said. She's got the record, she's got all the accolades, but it's the constant. You hear the boxing story all the time about the best fighter in the world who is underpaid or isn't as big of a star as they should be. And so that's what I've figured out. That's the formula that I've developed, is the marketing, the content, the branding, the entertainment side. And that's what we hope to be able to give to Amanda Serrano. And other boxers alike. You know, we want to elevate this sport as much as possible, bring more eyeballs, bring more attention to the best, and that's exactly what Amanda Serrano is. And we're all just ecstatic to be working together because the potential is huge. We're already eyeing in 2022 the biggest women's boxing match of all time, Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor.
Wow.
Working with Eddie Hearn to get that done. So, you know.
We've been waiting for the fight for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
But it needed that extra juice.
Yes, it does, and you gave it to her. As a matter of fact, she's going to be in this event. An opponent to be determined. We're going to be announcing that very soon. But I'm very happy that she's getting the recognition that she deserves. She's amazing. And I just, you know, there's this very short sentence that I use. She's a bitch, she's a boss, and she shines like glass.
I love it. I love
it. So I'm very excited about that. And now we're going to open the floor for questions from the press.
Jake, Keith Heineck from BoxingScene.com. How you doing? I was just wondering if you can compare the type of challenge that you expect from Tommy Fury as opposed to what Tyron Woodley presented for you.
Yeah, I think it's two very different style of fighters. You know, I think Tyron just has so much experience. You know, he's been in there with the hardest hitters, as the best in the world. And so he's had that experience and he knew how to counter and take away some of my best things in the ring and how to take a punch. Tommy Fury hasn't been tested, so we will see how he responds. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this fight is the unknown. Is he actually a Fury? Or will we find out that he's just a half Fury? You know, does he have the heart like his brother? Or is he just living in the shadow of his brother? I think the beautiful thing about this fight is stepping into the unknown, because this is also my first time fighting a real boxer, quote unquote, whatever that means. And he's undefeated, he's young, same age, same height, same weight. So it's really a perfect matchup, and we're just gonna see who worked harder, who wants it more, and who has that dog inside of him.
Jay, Ellie Sedgwick, ES News. Quick question. So you have a bet going on with him about changing the name, and what's your prediction for the fight? What round does it end?
I will TKO him in the later rounds. You know, Tommy hasn't gone past 4 rounds. He hasn't even had a fight past 4 rounds. So I think he'll be gassed. This will be the first time him actually getting punched in the face by someone who could hit, who is the same weight as him. You know, he's always fought smaller guys with losing records. So I think he's gonna fade. I know he's gonna fade. It just, what round? 5th, 6th, maybe 7th. Maybe I knock him out the last 10 seconds of the 8th. But he's not hearing that 8th bell ring.
I need
Jake,
talking.
I got 500K on the line. So, you know, when Tommy loses, he has to change his name to Tommy Fumbles. And, you know, he accepted it. I'm putting 500K, it's on the line.
I need this part.
So we'll see what happens.
Jake, Mike Hoppinger, ESPN. Right
I'm
here.
gonna put a clip.
You know, look, one of the biggest issues in boxing right now is that a lot of the top names aren't very active. But yet, you're here with your 3rd pay-per-view fight of 2021. Why do you think it is that you're able to get all these fights in, and a lot of the other guys, you know, obviously you have less fights, but you're still fighting pay-per-view fights and all the media obligations that go with it. Why do you think the other guys aren't fighting as often?
You know, like you said, it's one of the biggest problems in boxing is promoters not wanting to risk their big fighters losing, because that's their paychecks, that's how they make their revenue, and so it's too big of a risk for them. But me, you know, we're a big team, but a nimble team. We move fast, we make decisions, and I'm not scared of anybody. You know, people are saying, fight this person, fight that person, fight this person. I'm doing these fights literally as fast as we can get the deals done. And I think a lot of these pro boxers, from what I'm sort of finding out, is they don't work actually that hard, and they're not really down to fight all the time whenever the call, you know, whenever the call comes in. So I think that's the big difference. This is my 4th fight in 12 months. It's the 3rd pay-per-view this year, but it's 4 fights in 12 months. So really the only person that's as active at this big of a platform is Canelo.
I have a question about that. I'm
I
sorry.
just want to address something because I feel like everybody at the end of the way, the white boy can fight. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people try to underestimate it. You know, you know that. Yeah, he can fight. So.
I have a question about that. This is perhaps one of the biggest week in boxing in 2021. Canelo against another outstanding fighter, Caleb Plant. Your views on that fight? Who's going to take the win?
It's exciting. You know, in boxing now, rarely as a fan do we see these big fights where you get excited and you wake up on Saturday morning and you're like, man, I can't wait for tonight because I'm so excited for the fight. That's only happened maybe once or twice this year, you know, with the Fury Wilder fight, maybe Mayweather Logan, maybe a couple of Jake Paul fights, but this one's exciting.
History making.
It's great for and it's great for the sport. The unification of 168. Can Canelo do it? Can Caleb Plant do it?
Undefeated, another undefeated fighter in his record.
And this fight is exactly what boxing needs more of. You know, we want to see Canelo versus Benavidez. We want to see Plant versus Benavidez. We want to see these big fights. Why aren't they happening? Who? The promoters. Because I'm sure the fighters want the payday.
That's above my payday. My payday. So I wish I had the answer to that.
Jake, Marcus Hayes, Fight Hub TV. Thanks for taking my question. I'm wondering, you come into boxing and sort of disrupt the landscape of the traditional boxing with having big fight after big fight after big fight and being a relatively new name. Talk to us about that. Is that what you planned, or is that just how things are shaking out?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a young fighter that still has a lot of things to prove, but with each fight, I'm elevating my level of opponent, and we just want to do it bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know, boxing is the snowball effect. When you keep on winning as a fighter, they just get bigger. The fights get bigger. Everything's more exciting. And so we've just taken this step by step. But yeah, this has been in the cards the whole way. You know, when I first said, like 2 years ago, hey, I want to fight Conor McGregor. I want to fight Nate Diaz. I want to fight, I was joking about fighting Mike Tyson. I was saying I want to fight Canelo.
I remember the list.
And by the way, yeah, the list.
I remember the list.
Javante, everyone's on the list. And people
It doesn't
were like,
matter
oh, this
what
kid's...
weight division.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. People were like, oh, this kid's crazy 2 years ago. And now, it's like, wow.
You know what?
We've gotten this far, this fast, and the world is my oyster. All I have to do is 3 letters, W-I-N. And why do you think I work so hard? Why do you think I've progressed a lot faster than a lot of these pros are? Because I'm having to rise up to the highest level of boxing with 18 months of experience, 20 months of experience. So I'm progressing a lot faster than a lot of these pro boxers, and it is what it is because they don't have the pressure. They don't really have anything to lose. They lose, it's whatever. If I lose, the whole world's laughing. The whole world's like, yeah, ha, we told this kid. Like, we got him. This was just a thing. He's not a real pro. Get him out of here. Finally, we got our sport back. A lot of boxing wants to see me lose. A lot of them want to see me win, but a lot of them want to see me lose. So I have a pressure, and that's created a diamond.
I have an answer to that comes from a very credible source, Marco Antonio Herrera, world champion in 3 different divisions, Hall of Famer. And we talked about you in this fight. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't know. A lot of fighters do support this because they're bringing a new generation of fans. How responsible do you feel bringing this new generation that don't remember the Julio Cesar Chavez, or they just know about Muhammad Ali because of the documentary?
Yeah, no, I'm fully responsible for all of it. I mean, who else would be? I'm not sure. You know, like I said, 4 fights in 12 months. I have 65, 70 million followers across my platforms. That's a younger demographic, and they're coming into the sport of boxing, and they're going to become fans of other people. There's room for everyone to grow. I can build my skyscraper as high as I want to without it touching your skyscraper, his skyscraper, anyone's skyscraper. We can all build our buildings as high as possible, and that's what I want to do, is just bring more eyeballs to the sport, and that's what I've done.
This question is for Coach D, straight back. Coach D, we just saw you come off the off season, one of the biggest tours of the year. Just this being one of the biggest fights of the year, just want to see what you feel you can contribute and bring to this event.
What the hell he said?
We just saw you come off the off season, right? One of the biggest tours of the year, and just want to see this being one of the biggest fights of the year. What you feel? We saw what you contributed to the tour. What can you contribute to this fight?
Well, at the end of the day, we took him through training. He whooped his security ass. Hell, he whooped my ass in training. You know, the next thing for him, I don't see nobody fucking with baby boy right here but God.
One more question?
Question for Jake. Jake, one person that is, hey, right here. One person that's always talked, you've had back and forth with is Dana White. And Dana White has asked, when are you going to fight somebody your age and when are you going to fight somebody that's a boxer? You're doing that now. So do you have a message for him?
Dana, again, thank you, wherever you are. Thank you for promoting my fights. You literally tee up every single fight for me perfectly. You place bets against me. I prove you wrong. You try to bring in coaches for my opponents so that they can beat me. You're letting Tommy Fury train at the UFC Performance Institute. Give it up, guy. Like, give it up. Fight a real boxer. When is he gonna fight a guy his own age? Or whatever Dana White is constantly fucking saying. You know, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And he's mad that I'm doing it because he's a control freak. And when he doesn't have his fingers dipped into someone's business, he doesn't want to see them succeed and he tries to bring them down. But he's not smart enough to realize that every single time he talks about me, it just makes my shit grow up.